You guys have spent in the not too distant past a lot of money drilling a hole in West Virginia to inject carbon dioxide on the theory that you and your compatriots in the industry were going to get regulated by the federal government, and you wanted to sort of be ahead of that curve.
Right.
Things have not worked out as you expected. I think it's probably fair to say not only have things not worked out politically as you expected, but things haven't worked out technologically as you expected. So where is clean coal? Is it going to happen? How is it going to happen in any way that's economic, or is it just not going to happen?
I think ultimately it will, because it has to. When you look at a balanced portfolio in this country and the indigenous resources, coal has to be a part of that puzzle. Now, for the United States, we really need to think about continuing to advance those technologies around carbon capture and storage. That's critically important. At the time the Waxman-Markey legislation was being discussed,
carbon legislation.
There was a real emphasis placed upon the issues around carbon capture and storage, federal support for demonstration projects, 10 projects at $1 billion per project. If we had done that to now, we'd probably be in a different place. I think it's important, not only geopolitically, but also where we stand as a country, to ensure that coal remains a part of the portfolio. We continue to advance that science. That science has not advanced that much over the last few years, and primarily because these demonstration projects are huge projects, and there's massive costs associated with that. You have to get past the first project to the second to the third to really see costs come down associated with that, particularly in the retrofit area. But progress is being made, but not enough movements being made at this point.
So it sounds to me like one thing that you're saying is that the country took its eye off that ball largely because gas prices went down and the country decided it didn't need to worry so much about cleaning up coal. Okay.
That's right.
But if the premise is that the country's not going to achieve big reductions in carbon dioxide emissions without cleaning up coal, given that coal is going to remain a big portion of this country's generation mix, what's the big problem? What's the big technological problem? What's not happening in the lab or in the real world that needs to happen apart from spending money? I mean, what's the problem with the machine?
Well, I think clearly it's going to take time to make a transition, particularly on the retrofit activities. New generation, there's certainly an opportunity to advance the science, but you've got to have. There's a big difference between bench scale tabletop versus a large scale project in an industrial environment. We found out with our project, which was a chilled ammonia project that we had with Alstom, we found out that it works better in cold weather. Amines and amine solutions work better in warmer weather. And that's really something that you have to learn through that process. And you're changing how these units operate thermodynamically. So it's pretty complicated stuff.
This is the process of actually grabbing the carbon dioxide.
You got to grab the carbon, and just think about it. You're trying to grab carbon out of a massive duct of airflow that has all kinds of different constituents in it, and that's much more difficult than if you started with a new unit you're taking CO2 out of a pipe. And that's something that we really have to get across. There's been some interesting advancements on the tabletop side of things, but there's no way to get it to scale. And I think that's probably one of the issues that the U.S. really needs to focus on if they're serious about ensuring that we have a balanced portfolio and a risk-managed portfolio for the future.